You're looking at a scene no one has gazed on in more than 170 years. It's a tiny frontier community on the Colorado River called Waterloo. Now, back in 1839, when Texas was its own country, the second president of the Republic of Texas, Mirabeau Lamar, suggested making Waterloo its capital. The Texas Congress approved his choice and decided to change its name to Austin, in honor of Texas pioneer Stephen F. Austin. After Waterloo became Austin, the tiny community started to change. This is what it looked like about 75 years later. And here's Austin in the 21st century. And that's me, the state capital. I'm the public face of Texas, and that means I've got an important job to do. So come on in, I'll tell you all about it. First of all, the thing I like best is seeing all the young visitors. That's because the moment young people see me, they know right away they're in a very special place. A place that celebrates Texas history, and a place where history is still being made. A place of heroes and legends, and a place where ordinary citizens can make their voices heard. Texans always look to the future. The people built my halls to serve as the state capital. They also created me as a symbol of the commitment of Texas to future generations. And that means you. Of course, it's hard to get to where you're going if you don't know where you've been. That's why one of the first places I want you to see is the Secretary of State's office. It looks the same way it looked more than 100 years ago, not too long after this picture was taken. Secretary of State Jane McCallum made an amazing discovery here. Hidden inside a vault, she found a remarkable document from the year 1836, probably the most important year in Texas history. It was an original signed copy of the Texas Declaration of Independence, whose immortal words define the Texas spirit and everything I stand for. 4 days after that document was signed, the epic conflict at the Alamo took place. Every Texan knows about this event, and it is frozen in time in this painting, Dawn at the Alamo, which hangs in the Senate chamber. It depicts the final day of the siege when 189 heroes, including William Travis and David Crockett, fought to the death for the dream of Texas freedom. Now, Texas lost that fight, but the dream lived on. Only 6 weeks later, on April 21st, 1836, Texans won the war for independence at the Battle of San Jacinto. Now, here in the House of Representatives chamber, you can see the flag the Texas Army carried at the battle. I'm proud to say that for more than 80 years, I've kept this flag on display for all Texans to see. Led by General Sam Houston, 900 Texans needed only 18 minutes to defeat a much larger Mexican force. This victory was the turning point in Texas history. After the Battle of San Jacinto, Texas became an independent nation. In their first national election, Texans selected Sam Houston as president of the Republic of Texas. The second president was Mirabeau Lamar. It was early in his term that he rallied support to make Austin the capital. There were other seats of government in Austin before I came on the scene. One of them even occupied the hilltop where I now stand, called Capitol Square. Completed after Texas joined the United States, it was a plain limestone building topped with a small dome. Many Texans wanted something larger and grander. Well, the fact is, they wanted a building that looked like me. Plans for constructing such a structure were already well underway when the limestone Capitol caught fire in 1881. In a moment, I'll tell you how Texans paid for the state house they wanted. But first, let me tell you what they received when they finally built me. When my doors opened in 1888, newspapers proudly reported that I was the 7th largest building in the world. And I am still 14 feet taller than the national Capitol in Washington, D.C. But more important is this fact. I was built to be the place where all the work of Texas government gets done. That means all 3 branches of government. The legislative branch, the judicial branch, and the executive branch, including all state agencies and departments, which were once located in this building. Half of the legislative branch meets here in my largest room, the House of Representatives chamber, where members gather to pass the laws of our state. When the House is in session, you can sit in the gallery and watch representative democracy in action. And here's where the Senate, the other half of the legislative branch, meets. This chamber and all of my other rooms lacked furniture when I first opened, but eventually I received the highest quality pieces available at the time. In fact, our legislators still use the same desks from those early years. Now let's explore the judicial branch. Here's how the courtroom of the Texas Supreme Court appeared more than 100 years ago. And here's what it looks like today. Now, to me, it sets the high standard for what a hall of justice should look like. Even though the court moved to a different building, the courtroom looks exactly like it did when I first opened. This is a room most people don't get to see. It's the original private office of the Governor of Texas, who oversees the executive branch of state government. Nowadays, the governor works in a different room, but a senior member of the governor's staff still uses this office. Ever since I opened, this space has served as the governor's public reception room. Governors use it for formal functions and a place to meet invited guests. Even if you do not have a chance to meet with the governor, you can still visit this room and admire the antique furniture and decorations. As head of the executive branch, the governor oversees all state government agencies, including the state treasury, which was once located here. For a long time, it served as the Bank of Texas. Even though the Texas State Treasury was abolished in 1996, and this room is now used by the Capitol tour guides, it still looks like an old bank, with vaults that have elaborately painted doors. This is the biggest vault I have. The door weighs 28 tons. The walls are 28 inches thick. And to make it even more secure, it's built underground. The old limestone Capitol that burned didn't have a big vault to compare with mine. But even if it had one, the state didn't have nearly enough money in a vault or anywhere else to build a monumental state house like me. But we Texans are determined and resourceful people. Even before the limestone Capitol caught fire, some clever folks figured out how to fund construction of the best Capitol money could build. And they figured out how to do it without money. Instead, Texas traded more than 3 million acres of state land in exchange for the money to build a gigantic and magnificent Capitol. Me. With a financing plan in place, the state announced a nationwide design competition. Texas selected the drawing submitted by Michigan architect Elijah E. Myers. Groundbreaking took place February 1, 1882. Construction hit a snag when builders realized the limestone originally selected for my exterior walls had pieces of metal embedded in it that rusted and streaked after being exposed to air. I wouldn't have looked as magnificent if this material was used. Fortunately, the owners of a nearby quarry donated all the Texas Sunset red granite needed to complete me. On March 2, 1885, the 49th anniversary of the signing of the Texas Declaration of Independence from Mexico, a 12,000-pound granite cornerstone was laid in place. At the height of the project in late 1886, 1,000 workers labored every day. 15,000 railroad cars of granite, limestone, and other materials were delivered to the construction site. When it comes to my construction, people are most curious about the dome and the statue who stands on the top, the Goddess of Liberty. The main thing I want you to know is that the metal support structure created for the dome was an engineering marvel in its day. And the Goddess of Liberty? This photo was taken the last week of February 1888, right before she was hoisted to the top of the dome, making me more than 300 feet tall. At last, the grand Capitol that began with Elijah E. Myers' vision was nearing completion. The biggest celebration Austin had ever seen took place when I was officially dedicated in May 1888. Festivities lasted an entire week, culminating with a speech by Temple Houston, son of Sam Houston. That day, he said, "By this structure shall Texas transmit herself to posterity." I'll never forget those words because Senator Houston was talking about me. From that day forward, visitors have wanted to know what's inside the dome. Well, that's where we're headed right now. And this is the only way to get there. The dome is spectacular, even when you see it from a great distance. But here inside, you see something equally impressive: the enormous size of the metal braces that support the dome structure and maintain its perfect shape. This is what Austin looks like from walkways around the outside of the dome. From here, you can see for miles. And it's also a good place to look over the Capitol grounds, which was set aside as a park for the people of Texas. And that long skylight down there is part of the more than 650,000 square foot underground extension completed in 1993. It more than doubled my original floor space and relieved a lot of the overcrowding. Now, I may be old, but I'm still changing with the times. Now, I'd like to show you something really special that very few people get to see. It's up there, in the skylight structure in that north roof. These round windows have been part of me for all these years, and I'm still enchanted by their pure blue light. And though you can't get into the skylight structure, sometimes you can see the streaks of blue light the windows cast on the walls of my north wing. This is the Rotunda, a place rich with meaning for every Texan. From the terrazzo floor featuring the seals of the 6 sovereign nations that have governed Texas to the Lone Star, 218 feet overhead, this place is dedicated to the history and spirit of Texas. It's where we honor the former presidents of the Republic of Texas and former governors and provisional governors of the state of Texas. Many were trailblazers, like W. Lee Pappy O'Daniel, the first candidate for Texas governor to receive 1 million votes. Miriam Ferguson, the first Texas female governor. James Hogg, the first native-born Texas governor. And Anson Jones, the last president of the Republic of Texas. All these great leaders and the many others who are honored in every room of this building have helped shape what it means to be a Texan. The fact is, our identity can be traced back to the people who built this great state. Our identity was forged during the battles of 1836, the settlement of the frontier, and even the construction of the Capitol. We Texans believe in ourselves and rely on each other. We never stop dreaming. Our eyes are always fixed on building a better future. We believe there are no limits to the heights we can reach.